Well, I think we're building on the Phantom success. So the four-door followed by the extended wheelbase, and now the drop head that we launched in the middle of last year has been universally accepted. So it's another step in that direction. In many ways, it completes the Phantom family, and it offers a customer a different driving experience. What we're finding is that a lot of customers who bought Phantom, about 50% of them have also bought drop head, and that's an incremental car, not an either-or car. And I suspect that maybe we'll have a similar issue with the Coupe as it comes through in the middle of this year. The customer base that we're dealing with has many, many cars in the garage, typically between 5 and 8. But I do know of some customers in the world that have got over 100 cars. So they generally will have a car for all occasions, rather than, for many people in the world, they have one car that has to suit all occasions. It's very much a driver's car, and Rolls-Royce is really true to its roots here. I mean, if you look back in history, there have been many great coupes that have come through under the Rolls-Royce brand, and so we thought that that was a logical extension of the Phantom family. When I say that it's more driver-orientated, it is slightly more sportier, but it's not a sports car. And from that perspective, we have incorporated different braking feel. We've put different dampers, we've put a different roll bar on the car. The height settings on the car are slightly different. The steering feel is different, but it moves the needle slightly more in the more dynamic direction, but by no means is this a sports car, and that's never our intention. One of the things I think which is very unique to us, and it's the same with the drop head, is it's a true four-seater. You can get 4 adults in this car comfortably, and you can exit the car after a long drive feeling very comfortable, very well, not sort of cramped by the experience. So from that perspective, this is really a dynamic touring car, but one which is very luxurious as well. From an engineering perspective, we have the aluminium space frame underneath the whole Phantom family. Now, that's given us a lot of flexibility. So we've made the Phantom, we made extended Phantoms, and we run the extrusion shorter or longer depending on what the particular requirements of a car is. So the underpinnings of the car were available to us as we came into considering should we do a coupe version of the drop head. Having said that, the car really marries the Phantom rear end and the drop head front end. So all of the rear configuration from the fuel tanks, etc., all come out of the Phantom saloon car rather than the drop head. So we're marrying two vehicle structures together there, and that's why the fuel tank capacity on this car is 25% more than the drop head, which I think is important for the type of driving maybe that the customer is going to embark upon. From a design point of view, Ian Cameron, who has had the continuity all the way through the Phantom range of products, really took inspiration from some of the older coupes of the past. In the same way that with the drop head, he took inspiration from convertible vehicles, but also from the yacht industry. And one of the things that we really spent a lot of time on was the actual slope of the roof. And there were 4 or 5 iterations until we were absolutely convinced that this roof structure, this line between the front of the A-pillar and the rear of the boot structure was absolutely perfect. And I really think that we've made a great job of that. From a welding perspective, the level of skill, the level of understanding, the capability to be able to weld several meters of aluminium at one time is a pretty rare skill. Well, it may surprise you that, if you take the Phantom Saloon, depending on the country, we have very strong driver orientation there as well. So if you looked at the United States, if you looked at the United Kingdom, around 90% of all the customers sit behind the wheel and drive it. That's different in Asia, where about 90% of the customers sit in the back and get chauffeured. So we already understand, what's required from a driver's car, and I think, the success of Phantom shows that our customers enjoy that driving experience. This car, as we say, is slightly sportier. It has a slightly higher top-end speed, but all of the feel of the car is much more dynamic, much more engaging. So the driver can experience a different set of elements to what he would have in the saloon car. But I think from the perspective of Rolls-Royce, we are just as supportive of whether you're sitting in the front or sitting in the back, and I think our cars are really showing that's possible. Well, it builds on the Phantom family, and the one thing about having this aluminium substructure is that we're very flexible. And last year we enjoyed great success with the saloon car, but we built and sold around 250 of the drop heads as well. Our anticipation is that we'll sell slightly less of the coupes than we will of the drop heads, but I'm open to that being moved up and down depending on the customer demand, and I think that's the important issue, that we do supply cars to customer order. These are not cars that you're going to see stocked in showrooms and so on and so forth. So if the demand rises, then we'll find ways of flexing our platform here at Goodwood and our output here at Goodwood to suit that demand.
There have been stories on our website about a fourth car from Rolls-Royce. I have to ask you this, Ian, being as we've made the trip. Can you tell us anything about RR4 or not?
Well, I can tell you that the design is complete. The car looks stunning. I'm delighted with the way it's turned out. And the first engineering prototypes are out running around the world as we speak. So, from that perspective, we're well down the road. Here at Goodwood, we made a lot of changes over the Christmas break. We took an extended holiday, which with the demand we've got was quite a difficult decision to undertake. We've installed a second line, and from that, in the middle of this year, you'll start to see lots more changes happening as we prepare for the new car, which will come in 2009, or the latter part of 2009.